What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Next Guy Up podcast. We are live on a Sunday night. It has been an awesome weekend of football for some, not for all of the people that probably listen to this podcast. But it is what it is. We are here. We're facing the adversity. If you thought we were going to hide and not be here after the Vols lost on Saturday, you're wrong.
Mm-hmm.
It turns out we're a basketball school anyway, so who cares?
Thanks.
But we've got plenty to talk about. College football playoffs first weekend. NFL is getting wild with all of the playoff stipulations happening, and we have a very special Mason's Christmas special segment.
That is
word special,
very special Mason.
Very special Mason.
Special.
Yeah. All of a sudden, I just I didn't know what to say at the end of the last episode, and just made a promise for no reason of and we'll do a Christmas special, and then at the very end they're like, what's this Christmas special we're talking about? So when I promise something, I have to deliver. So we came up with a fun little game here. Back to the UT thing. I did see you talked about basketball season. I saw. Do you know the Homer Simpson GIF where it's him going into the bushes? It was him wearing a football UT jersey, and then he goes into the bushes and then comes back out and he's wearing a UT basketball jersey. So
all you need, folks. Number one.
That's it. That's right. Number one in the country.
Men and women. Lady Vols undefeated as well.
I have a funny story about Christmas real quick. If I can share.
We're here for it.
I need to make sure Macy does not listen starting now. All right. So my wife got all the presents for Christmas wrapped super early. Everything's wrapped, and she wanted to put everything under the tree. I was like, all right, whatever. So Christmas a few days, go ahead. Macy gets up this morning. She goes, oh my goodness, why are there so many presents under the tree? I was like, well, we just went ahead and put everything out. My wife didn't realize that she put the Santa gifts under there as well. She gets one thing from Santa. Both the girls do. It's like a big present, but not the biggest. I've talked about that before. The coolest present does not come from Santa.
Worst present, Santa.
It's just like a pretty average present. Yeah, Santa's not getting all the credit around here. I have built a very intricate empire of lies when it comes to Santa. My daughter is convinced that I can text Santa Claus, that it's a dad thing. All dads can text Santa Claus. So Zach, if she ever brings it up to you, you can also text Santa.
All right. I got the line.
Yep. You're in there with me now.
He texts you as soon as you become a dad. It's like you're in.
You're in the club. So she'll even randomly ask me can you text Santa this for my Christmas list, or just throughout the year. She loves it.
So how did the Santa text thing become? Was it hey, if you're not in a good mood while we're in the grocery store, I'm going to text Santa? How did it come across? Was it using it as
no? I think
let's behave type of situation. Oh, okay.
No, I don't remember exactly, but it was just all
of a sudden you could text Santa.
Yeah, I think she even asked. She was like, "How does Santa even know what I want for Christmas?" And I think I just was like, "Oh, I text him." And so ever since then, just that's what I rolled with.
Don't have to make that Christmas card.
No, I have used that where I'm like, if you don't stop acting crazy, I'm gonna text Santa that you're
there. You
go. It doesn't normally work anyway. She's like, whatever. No
brings one gift anyways.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
He can keep his socks.
So I had to very quickly think on my feet as I had been up for all of 30 seconds this morning, because Macy woke me up 3 inches from my face going, why are there Santa gifts under the tree? I was like, So then I went to Morgan after, and I was like, thanks. I'm really having to just play a lot of defense here this year. You're really not helping me.
So does Santa's
what do you say?
Presents,
what was your answer?
Yeah, what
I told her. So luckily she didn't see hers. She just saw the one for Maddie and me. And I told her, I was like, your mom was just messing around with me last night because I already know what I got for Christmas. So she was joking around being like, Santa. And she bought it. Luckily for me, my daughter's pretty gullible. She thinks everything I say is true. So that's good. As I lie to her all the time about Santa. So then I had to go and find her present that's from Santa and grab it and hide it when she was not in the room.
Okay, gotcha. I thought that maybe Santa's presents were in a certain, like, a special Santa wrapping paper, and that's
Nope.
how she knew or
No,
not.
he uses the
That's
same. He texts and asks what wrapping paper we're wrapping our gifts in, and he uses the same one.
There you go. That text thread,
That guy is
that's
good.
useful.
Me and Santa text a lot of info going back and forth between me and Santa. And Santa doesn't want cookies this year. He's wanting some brownies. Had to put it in the
Mm.
request. Had to make sure Morgan knew that Santa wanted brownies this year, not cookies. She's also been reminding Morgan of that. She's like, make sure you buy stuff for brownies because Santa doesn't want cookies from our house. He's got a
True.
lot of cookies. He said he wanted brownies.
You should have said Santa wants some Taco Bell and just leave out like
Oh,
your favorite Taco Bell.
no.
I
She
did bring that up for a reason though. A nice little
oh
segue
yeah.
there, but yeah.
Yeah, so my Taco Bell app, it's back. It
We're
only took
back.
almost a year. Still not on my debit card. I had to buy a virtual gift card. I had tried it with a physical gift card before and uploaded it and didn't work. But I bought an e-gift card this morning, tried it, and it worked. So
Wow.
we're back. I can just reload that through my debit card, and there we go.
What was the first purchase on the app? And
Um, breakfast this morning just
yep,
to
there you
test
go.
it. The steak cruncher app, sub the Cinnabon things for the hash brown with the Baja Blast. So
Mm.
bang bang.
Breakfast Baja Blast.
Well, as I had Starbucks, I was also picking up Starbucks for everyone. So very caffeinated this morning.
Are you
Oh,
guys gonna try the Taco Bell nuggets? Can we talk about that
I
right now?
I got some yesterday.
Oh, you got them. Okay. Did you tell me this?
No,
No. Oh, okay.
I
Good
was
deal.
saving it for the pod.
Oh, let's hear the review, the official Tens review of
Yes.
the chicken
So
nuggets. They look
the
good. I will say
chicken
that
nuggets
part.
are good. The breading is very good. They're very crispy, but also they're juicy.
They call that
Lot
tortilla seasoning, right?
Yeah, it's I don't know what it's like a tortilla bread, but also like normal breading too. Um, it's really good. I was very surprised at the quality of the chicken nuggets. So that I was happy with. They're very big. They're not like little tiny McNuggets from McDonald's. Like they're actually like pretty good. Like they look like boneless wings from Wingstop size.
That's awesome.
The sauces, I was pretty disappointed in all three sauces, to be honest.
Oh man. Okay, well
The
let's go for each one. You got the
Yeah,
bell sauce, bell
the bell
dipping.
sauce is like the the quesadilla chipotle sauce. It's like they mixed
Yeah.
that with barbecue.
Mm.
It wasn't good. It was my least favorite. 2 out of 10.
Wow. Okay, and then the next one would have been the Hidden Valley Fire Ranch dipping sauce.
Wasn't very hot. It was just kind of like ranch, and you took a little bit of Texas Pete and mixed it in there. It's like on a scale of 1 to 10 hot level, it was like a 2. But it tasted. I mean, it tasted good. So I would put it at like a 6 out of 10 as far as the sauces go.
And then the last one was a jalapeno honey mustard.
It just tastes like honey mustard. I couldn't taste any jalapeno at all.
Yeah, when I
And
saw this, go ahead.
sorry, I was gonna say I like honey mustard, but not. It didn't fit the vibe of like the chicken with the tortilla seasoning and breading.
Yeah, we've had a snacking with Zach on the pod. I saw his video of the review. He gave like level heat 4 for all of them. So I
Yeah,
don't know if you saw that was kind of the same, like a 4 or 2, but he liked the sauces too. So a little disappointed that you didn't like him, but
yeah. I don't know. I didn't really like them. They were a letdown, but the chicken was good. Overall, I'd put them at like a 6.7.
okay, there you go. You heard it here first. Okay, so what do we do next over here, everybody? Zach's being
Um,
distracting with his standing desk.
Zach
That's
has a
why we're
standing desk today, so he's he's banshing around over there.
here.
Um, I don't know. There's 1,000 avenues we can go. It's been a crazy weekend of sports and gambling and teams coming back from the ashes.
Should we
But
do
I think
the
it's Christmas time.
yep, there it is. The Mason Christmas special. Is that what we're doing?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I came up with an idea here, and and for everybody listening at home or in the car or whatever, if you've played Taboo, you know what I'm talking about. Apparently, I've played this several times with Zach and Tins, and I didn't even realize it because I was.
Apparently, Mason, it used to be like a
I
standing thing to
know,
do
and I
at Robert
know,
and Sonia's house.
and I
You really
forgot. I was
asked.
like,
He
"Do you
went.
remember Taboo?"
He was like, "Have you guys ever played Taboo?"
I've played multiple times.
multiple times. So we came up with. I was able to find Christmas cards Taboo. I'm gonna have the guys work as a team. Here's the rules. There is just your generic Christmas place thing, idea, characters, and we're going to. Each one's going to go back and forth. They have 16 each, so 32.
Okay.
We set the time limit at 5 minutes, so they have to complete this in 5 minutes, and they have to get over 20. Did we? What
we should
did
have
we
to
set
get
the
all
line
of them.
to?
Now that I'm looking at it, I think we should have to
That's
get
what I was
all
saying.
32.
All right, let's do
5
all of them.
minutes.
5 minutes. I think you guys can do it.
We go back
It's
and forth.
back and forth. Okay, so for anybody that's never played Taboo, they have and I know it's more of a visual as well, so they don't know the words underneath, but they have a word, and then there's 4 or 5 words associated with it underneath that they cannot say. I'm going to be the moderator, whatever. I'm the one that's going to be buzzing them, so I'm going to be like, if they do say it. Now, how about this? If you say one of the words, do I buzz you and that's a dead word, or what do we do here? And
Maybe it should be 30, so then we can
30.
have
It gives you
words we can
2 to if I buzz you on 2, then you still are alive.
Okay,
So let's
I
do
like that.
30 out of the 32, but set of 5. We'll go back and forth. Who wants to start?
I will.
And I think this
All
is
right.
fun for everybody to play at home as well. Like they can start guessing while they're. So
I think you should give us like 1 minute warnings every minute.
okay. So 4 minute, 3, 2, like that. And that's how you want it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just let us
Okay.
know when stuff is happening.
All right. So I'm starting the timer. Zach, then 10s back and forth. 3, 2, 1, go.
The guy tends texts.
Snack with Zach. Zach, sorry.
No, that Macy.
Oh, Santa.
Yeah.
Santa Claus. Sorry, that's.
These are all Christmas words.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Tens.
All right,
Now your
all right.
now your turn. So your word.
All right. The 12th month.
December.
Yep.
Dude with in the front of the group.
Rudolph.
Yep.
Good job. All right, back to you, Tens.
All right. Competition of Whoville on everyone's houses.
Hanging Christmas lights, decorations.
Lights. There you go.
No,
We'll
yeah.
give it to him.
Not south, but
North Pole.
yep.
Nice.
Everyone sends these.
Christmas cards.
Just one word. The
Card.
last word. Yep.
Card.
Okay, we're at 348.
Person wedded to the guy tends texts.
Mrs. Claus.
Yep.
The
The Grinch.
Yep.
Made in the North Pole.
Toys.
Bingo.
Nice. Bingo.
I do this on a daily basis.
Deliver.
What are they called?
Deliver packages. Deliver gifts.
Just no, that one word, but just as a single
Gifts.
without no
Packages.
drop a letter.
Package. Close enough.
3 minutes.
People who
Elves.
thank you.
Wow.
Something you would hate to do. You're gonna go out and spend.
Don't say the word.
Money. Spend.
Right. So what do you do when you're like
Save money.
that grocery?
Store.
No,
Grocery.
just
Budget.
No, forget about what I just said. Just what I'm going to go grocery.
Shopping.
There you
There
go.
it
Gosh.
is.
Horses who
Sled.
drag the not horses, but other animals.
Sleigh. Huh?
Oh,
I'm not getting this one. I don't
North Pole horses.
You can have a pass.
think. North Pole horses.
North Pole
Reindeer.
Yeah.
There it is. I'm adding a minute, by the way. We're gonna do this in 6 minutes.
The big day.
Christmas.
There you go.
Large sock.
Stocking.
Nice.
Got him.
The thing people do too early in the year.
Christmas shop. Christmas.
To their house.
Decorate their house.
Yep. So just that first word.
Decorate.
There you go.
Nice.
Thing in living room.
Fireplace. Couch.
Alive.
Tree.
There it is.
Yeah.
We'll give it to him.
Give it to
Something that you put outside your house where you come through every day.
Door.
Right.
Wreath.
So what? Yep.
Something under tree. For
Presents. Presents.
It's another word.
Gifts.
There it is. This is tough. I did not realize how hard this was going to be.
Okay. Here we go. Blank tree. My blank tree.
Christmas.
Right. You
Evergreen.
would think. No, just think about the time of year and
Pine.
What's important. This one's impossible.
Jesus.
The people closest to you.
Family.
There it is.
Ooh. This is shepherd crook shaped.
Okay.
This is way harder than I thought.
Flavor. Tens likes in coffee.
Peppermint or candy cane. Candy cane.
There it is.
Okay. Oh, this is the same kind of thing. Like what is that?
No, we suck. Peppermint.
Yeah, but what is a peppermint?
Candy.
Yeah.
Peppermint.
Just that one word. Candy.
Great
So
work.
that was 6 minutes.
Yeah, we
added
didn't
a
get
minute.
it for sure.
Yeah.
Well, now we've.
So when Tinsley was looking at family, it has, you can't say mother, father, brother, sister, relatives. I was like, how is he going to say that one?
I cooked right there. That was fun.
You did cook.
Cooked.
Yeah. Should we keep it going? It will cut into our
That was, I think we just
football talk.
You think
There's
that
no
was good
limit of
content?
football talk.
People like that.
Let us know in the chat if you like
to
that
the
or
feedback. Do you want more taboo in the show?
We're the first ever podcast that just plays Taboo every episode.
Listen, I didn't hate it. I saw the words and I was
engaged.
I was enjoying it. I didn't have to do any of that. So
yeah, before we started, I told Mason, I was like, Mason, since you have the list, why don't you try and get us to guess the words? He's like, that's too much work for me.
He's like, wait a minute.
If I can get them to do all
Why
of it,
would I do it?
I can just sit here. I was monitoring and I had to keep up with the timer. So
Wow. That's crazy.
A lot of work. All right. So how many total did we get? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10,
24.
11. Which one? What did you get to? Who had Santa Claus? Oh, that was Zach. How far did you get?
I got to the last row.
Okay. So 12 and 11. 23.
I got the candy. Had 5 left.
Good work, everybody. And that was this segment of Mason's Christmas special, aka Taboo.
When do you guys open gifts on Christmas Eve?
Not like within my own group. We usually, we're gonna do like my wife's dad's stuff on Christmas Eve, so we'll do that stuff, but not like our own stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when we were younger, sorry, Zach, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say we usually wait until.
Yeah, when we were younger, we used to get to pick one gift to open on Christmas Eve, and then the rest of them was Christmas Day. Now that we're
What if you picked like your big ultimate cool gift?
I think they limited. Yeah, they didn't put those out yet. So yeah, it was kind of in the middle. It's like the strategy we were talking about, but it's like the middle of the pack gifts you got to pick out. But now we do. So my family, we always do Christmas on Christmas Eve. So if it's anything with my family, we'll do it on Christmas Eve, and then my wife's family's on Christmas Day. So how about you, Tans?
No, we just do everything Christmas Day. No early gifts.
No early, not a single one.
Nope.
Yeah, I'm with that.
Oh, did you find Morgan just came in here? I told on you about the Santa stuff live on the pod. So you know.
It's fine. We saved it.
Not we. Me.
Well, I had to back you up, so it's a good thing you told me your story because I had to regurgitate it to her.
She awake?
I love how this is live on the pod.
Let's get Macy on live and ask her what her reaction was to it.
Yeah. Go wake Macy up. Tell her I have questions for her on the pod.
Maddie's awake. She's in there screaming her head off. I've been in there 15 minutes.
All right, everybody. We are going to transition. We're going to transition this talk.
Wife didn't realize we were recording a podcast. She's still just talking to me about random stuff.
He started muting it, and then it was just like 5 seconds of nothing.
Sorry, she kept talking to me. I was like, I looked. I was like, "Do you know I'm recording a podcast right
now?" Well, speaking of disappointment, despair, dismay, all of your hopes and dreams being crushed.
Right.
There was some football this weekend.
Yep.
And boy,
I think the world's eyes are on you right now, Zach.
I'm very excited to talk about this really fun game that happened last night. Boy, the takes are just truly all over the place to a dangerous degree right now. I think it would not be as bad if the Tennessee fan base hadn't talked so much trash to everybody and did the whole
Kneeling North,
which was fun. I mean, there was a lot of Tennessee fans there. If there was a winner on the weekend, it was Tennessee fans, because I feel like even nationally, even though we all looked really stupid after the game started, people respected that. Like, they went to the lengths we did to travel and to do the whole thing. I've got a couple takes about the college football playoff. First of all, the first take is, boy, Tennessee just got beat in pretty much every single facet of the game. Like, at literally every position down the board just got beat, including coaching. Like, name a position group, and Tennessee got outplayed there. Every single one. Even quarterback, which Nico played a great game. He did everything he could, but still, it was not enough. Line of scrimmage was just a dumpster fire, both sides. Corners, the second Tennessee secondary just got absolutely wrecked by a couple of freshmen and young wide receivers for Ohio State. Ohio State running backs went all over them. Ohio State defense just pretty much shut down all of the wide receivers, apparently. It did not help. It's going to sound like I'm in excuse territory here. Boy, did Tennessee's basically, other than Nico, your top 3 offensive players all get injured, and then it's like, what are you supposed to? Your SEC Offensive Player of the Year takes 2 rushes and then he's down, and Dylan Sampson, your top 2 wide receivers who have been like production wise are down. Squirrel White, Dante Thornton gets banged up. I mean, you're down with all the transfers. I mean, you're basically you're down to some of your 5th, 6th, 7th string wide receivers going in the game against this secondary that includes some of the best safety in the country, probably, and elite talent. It was pretty much done from the first quarter. It was gross. It was a pretty pathetic showing from everyone involved. I've got some takes about the whole situation. Let's start here. I've really got 3 takeaways about the playoffs. My first takeaway is, I'm not saying this needs to be changed, but home field advantage is like overpowered. It's crazy. In this situation, we know how big home field advantage is in college football as a whole. But you saw it in full effect in these playoff games. It seems like a lot of the away teams just never really had a chance to compete with that kind of environment on the road. There's a reason that like March Madness is at neutral sites. I mean, obviously NFL plays home playoff games, which is fun. And so I'm not saying you should take it away, because I think, obviously if Tennessee had hosted, I think the game would have at least been more competitive if it had been in Neyland instead of Ohio State. But I think it's extremely valuable. I think it's going to be a reality next year where, or at some point, if they expand it, where all top 8 teams are going to get to host, because I think it's a fun environment there. Number 2, and I think this is probably a huge piece of the puzzle. Are you guys familiar with the blue chip ratio?
Yes. I know what it means. Like,
right.
How many more blue chip players, 5-star players, one team has above the other?
Okay. It's like, so blue chip is roster. 4 or 5 stars. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's basically what percentage of your roster is made up of 4 or 5-star recruits.
Right.
Do you know number 1 in the country is?
I would say it's Ohio State.
It's Ohio State. 90% of their roster is made up of 4 or 5-star recruits.
Yeah.
Tennessee is at 46%. I mean, so that means for every 1 4 or 5-star Tennessee has, Ohio State has 2. I mean, literally double.
Is there a list? Do you have a list in front of you?
I do have a list, in fact.
Oh, sweet. Awesome.
Number 2 is Alabama. Number 3 is Georgia at 80%. A&M at 79%. Oregon, 76%. Oklahoma, 73%. What a weird one. Texas, 72%. LSU, 70%. Notre Dame, 67%. Clemson, 64%. Some other ones of note, Penn State's at 61% as well. So, of the teams left in the playoff, there are 8 teams left. 6 of them have a greater than 50% blue chip ratio. That would be Ohio State, Georgia, Oregon, Texas, Notre Dame, and Penn State. The 2 that don't, Boise State and Arizona State. Boise State was mentioned a few times yesterday, and I just completely forgot they were part of this thing at this point. Same with Arizona State. I was like, what the heck? Obviously, those teams, if you want a surefire bet, I would just bet against those guys, because here's the stat that everyone kind of talks about. Since 2011, every single national champion has had a greater than 50% blue chip ratio. Every single one. For the past 13 years. That is what it is. Tennessee's is not that. I think apparently in 2025 next year will be the first year since Fulmer where we do have above 50% blue chip ratio. And we had a walk on with the pick. I mean, obviously blue chip ratio is not everything, but when you're talking about the numbers, it means something. and it kind of goes into the third thing, which is I think it's not really possible for there to be like a Cinderella team in college football like there is college basketball. College basketball, you get a team hot from three and they're just hitting everything. They can make a run versus college football where you have to be deep at every position. You can't have one guy take over. You can't just skip. There's no fluky wins in college football like that. You've got to put a full game together against the roster that's built. It's just not really going to happen. So I'm just going to tell you right now, Arizona State and Boise State are they just do not have a shot at this point. Shout out to Notre Dame. Shout out to Penn State. They won their games pretty convincingly, and I think it just goes to show some of that same stuff. I mean, I think they're just better. They're athletically much better. And while I was watching the game yesterday versus Ohio State, it was just abundantly clear to me the talent difference between Ohio State and Tennessee. And it's not everything. Obviously, there's upsets. But when it comes down to it, just watching Ohio State play football, it was like a different caliber of athlete out there compared to what Tennessee had on the offensive line or had in the secondary. They were just completely outclassed. So there's my takes. Shout out to all the teams moving on. Some fun games next week. I'm sure we'll talk about them eventually. But that's where I'm at. Football's fun, guys.
Real quick.
If anyone ever says anything, get your hopes up and always just be excited about the next one,
Just to give you an idea of how excited Zach was to talk about all this, in the group text we had this morning, he said, "Boys, I'm not mentally prepared for this college football segment tonight. Going to be a tragedy. Cancel all sports." And then he said, "Can't believe Tennessee got snubbed from the playoffs this year."
Yeah, I started kind of an alternate reality in my brain where Tennessee didn't play that game last night. And instead, I could sit here and just complain about how the committee screwed us over. I think it would have been a better situation. But that's why they play the game, I really didn't expect it happening. I came on the show and predicted a close game with low-scoring affair. It was not that.
Can I say one thing?
Reason. I don't know.
Yeah, my take is before kickoff, I was enjoying every second of it. The offensive line out there with no shirts on, like in the cold, the fan, like all the things you saw about the Tennessee chatter. I was enjoying every second of it until kickoff happened. And then it was just downhill from there. So
truly, it didn't last long. It was like 6 plays, and I was like, "Oh, this is not good."
That is the big difference in college football. Those the Jimmies and Joes. Like,
yep.
Do you have the players? Because if not, it shows up pretty quick.
When you're playing a team with those guys, I mean, Ohio State is not. I will say that the difference between the Ohio State that lost to Michigan and the one that played us yesterday is shocking.
Yeah,
the game plan, the coaching, it's like two different football teams, and so there is always a reality where a team just comes out. I mean, I mentioned Alabama is like the second highest in the country, and they lost to Oklahoma, who is actually in the top 5 as well. It's not on the list. Vanderbilt. Shout out to Vanderbilt. I wonder what their blue chip ratio is. Beat Alabama.
It's got to be pretty bad.
It's probably horrible.
But yeah, I mean that's the surprising thing about Ohio State is that they are consistently one of the most loaded rosters in college football, and they just never really seem to get out of their own way. And that's why we talked about it. I thought they would kind of turtle up and take that Michigan loss a lot harder than they obviously did. It looks like they actually mentally bounced back from it and, showed what they're capable of last night. I mean, they've now jumped up to second favorite to win the whole thing behind Texas, which I know that was a good win for Texas and everything, but I don't know that they beat a Clemson team that hadn't beaten anybody good all year. Like their signature win was SMU, who got mollywopped by Penn State.
Correct.
So I don't know why Texas is sitting there number 1. Oregon's being slept on. Like Oregon's just being disrespected nonstop. They got the worst draw, and now they're down to like 4th favorite to win the whole thing. Like they're not even being given a chance next week
What's that
against
line
Ohio
next week?
State.
That's what I was about to just go look up.
I don't know. I bet it's Ohio State minus 1.5 because
You think?
Oregon beat them by 1 at home. So neutral field.
Two and
I
a
bet
half.
2.5 Ohio
yeah.
State.
You can get Oregon
Yeah.
at plus money for the money line.
Yeah. So that's the thing. They're saying home field advantage last time for Oregon was worth 3 points, and they still only won by 1 point. So,
Well, it's in California, which is going to be. I mean, it's
yeah.
much, much, much closer to Oregon.
Ohio
Georgia
State
is
does
1.5
have.
point favorites over Notre Dame.
Yeah, I'm smashing Georgia. I don't care that they have the backup quarterback in.
Holy cow. Yeah, you want to see about these games and what people think about it. Penn State minus 11 against Boise State. Texas
State, yeah.
minus 14 against Arizona State.
Yeah, it's tough.
What a fun second round game we have.
That is where just more of the transfer portal and recruiting, I think as the years go, we'll see something more like the NFL where it's a little bit more balanced. I think every year we'll get a little bit less of these blowouts. I think as long as we keep putting a non-Power 5 school in like Boise State, there'll always be a really bad game. Because, I mean, as good as Boise State is, they have what? One player probably going to be on an NFL roster next year, if I had to guess.
Yeah.
It's the Heisman Trophy candidate running back. So
definitely.
I don't know.
Is he going to get drafted, you think? Is Genty going to get drafted?
He'll be a first round running back. He's relatively young, doesn't have a lot of carries. Cowboys will be dumb enough to draft him in the first round. It's a very cowboy thing. It's a very cowboy thing to do.
Hope he doesn't go there. I tanked in one of my dynasty leagues so I could get him first overall pick. Do you think he'll be the automatic? And like,
wow.
No,
fantasy
quarterbacks are the number one overall pick in dynasty leagues.
I know, but our quality of quarterbacks this year is kind of. We'll see what happens.
Draft Shador Sanders going to the Giants to be teamed up with Neighbors for the next 10 years.
Giants have
Malik Neighbors, second best wide receiver in this draft. I mean, he's having a great rookie year.
Mm-hmm.
Second best wide receiver out of this draft.
Who's number one?
Brian Thomas Jr., the one who's leading rookies in receiving yards, receiving touchdowns. Brian Thomas Jr.
He was able to throw that in there.
Almost at 1,100 yards right now.
Wow.
That's not even just like leading rookies. He's like one of the leading receivers. It only took our stupid coaches 12 weeks to start throwing the ball more than 5 times a game. Idiots. Anywho, but yeah, no. I mean, if you want to draft a running back first overall in dynasty, that's what you tanked for. You go for it, big guy.
Double tank?
I mean, I did it with Bijan Robinson one time. Well, I didn't tank. I just took a league that I think I had the second pick, and that didn't go bad for me. I don't know how we started. I went off on a rabbit hole here.
That's just a very fantasy. I don't know. It's a surprising dynasty pick, a running back.
I guess if you're settled on quarterbacks, like I have.
Yeah, I guess so.
I think I have Lamar, and I don't know. I have to check, but I think I'm pretty settled on quarterbacks in that league. So I was thinking about going with. Okay. Anyways, back to you guys.
There were some other games.
Oh, was there?
Unfortunately, none of them were very competitive. Yeah, we can do a quick recap
every home
here.
Team covered.
The what?
Every home team covered. Yep.
Yeah, me and Tins both. Did we both go 2-2 in our picks?
I think so.
Yeah, tough. We both missed out Indiana, Notre Dame. Notre Dame won by 10. It was never really that close, to be honest. If you watch the game, it wasn't even that close. 27-17. Notre Dame, they look pretty good. They looked.
Wait, you said we both missed? I thought we both took Notre Dame.
No, I picked Indiana.
Oh, I took Notre Dame.
Okay.
I think I had Notre Dame and Penn State were my two that I won.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe I just suck. I know I won 2 of them.
Because I took Clemson and Tennessee. Those are my
Okay.
two underdogs I rode
I took
with.
Texas and Penn State. Okay, so anyways, Notre Dame wins pretty easily, moving on to the second round. Clemson, Texas. Clemson kind of hung around in this game. They made it to one possession kind of late. They did not. They kept taking the punches, but Texas at the end of the day just pulled out and took the win. I mean, Clemson was like had the ball on the goal line with a few minutes left to go back down to one score, and it was tight. And Texas had a
couldn't
goal line
punch it in.
stand, and then just kept getting first downs and just ran the clock out.
The thing Clemson showed that Texas's pass defense is not very strong because Clay Klubnik kind of diced him up a little bit, and but Texas's run game was out of this world. Like they were popping like every time they would get Texas to like a 3rd and short situation, Texas's running back would pop off a 15-yard run, and that's kind of was the difference in the game. So, like I said, I think Texas is. I don't know. Texas has some holes. I don't know why they're ranked number 1 right now to win the whole thing on all the sports books. You said they're playing Arizona State next week.
That's why it's because they're basically
Their
Penn
path
State.
is just
Penn
so
State and
easy.
Texas are basically assured semifinal spots.
Yeah,
With
I might take a chance on Arizona State to cover the spread, but I don't have a lot of faith in that right now. I do think Quentin Ewers is going to come back to college football. I don't think he's going to enter the draft.
Really?
I think he's going to take
$4 million.
That $4 million and just play another year of college football.
Why not?
He's seen himself get dropped so far into the draft boards, like he's not helping
like a
himself.
Bo Nix type. I feel like he's similar to Bo Nix and kind of his path. He's like a pretty good college quarterback.
And that's the thing. Bo went back.
He'll be good.
Yeah, Bo went back for one last year at Oregon and really kind of jumped himself back up.
Yeah.
So maybe he could do that. Because if he goes in the draft right now, he's going to be a 2nd, 3rd round pick to the Tennessee Titans.
Don't you dare do. You know what you're doing.
That's what's going to happen, though.
Get him out of my face, he says.
Okay, last game was the least interesting game. It was not competitive at all. That'd be SMU Penn State.
Yeah, I stopped watching this game. I
turned this one off as well. It was not worth my time. It was just pretty bad.
SMU just never their quarterback choked in the big moment, kept throwing picks.
Truly, you kind of started feeling bad for him. A couple pick sixes. He just kept making mistakes after mistake after mistake.
But that's the thing. Penn State, had they played Tennessee in that first round, do they win? I mean, their offense didn't look
Tennessee
good.
Looked so bad.
Penn State's defense scored 14 points.
That is a fact. But they won 38-10. So, I mean, SMU looked like they were in a different league. But again, if you don't throw a couple pick sixes and your quarterback play is decent, that game is different probably. So, but they're just not a very competitive game there. So overall, I think the take machine out there is saying that we didn't need 12 teams. None of these games were very competitive. We could have stuck with 8 and been fine. Blah, blah, blah. It's going to be out there. You do hate that at least one of them wasn't fun to watch.
Yeah.
Because none of them were. You really thought Tennessee was going to come back in the second half and was going to make it a classic and be close. It didn't happen, but
Zach, the question intense. Yeah, I got the question for both of you. Do you think they change how they pick teams next year? Do they go or change the structure of it? Because this is a learning curve, right? So do you put who did we say that could have made more of a, besides Alabama, who could have made this a little more interesting? A lot of SEC teams were thrown out.
South Carolina was thrown out there, Ole Miss, but
it's like, do you change the structure? Do you get rid of like a SMU, or do you
you can't penalize a team. SMU had a very easy schedule, and they talked about it on the broadcast as far as the worst thing that could have happened is the first year of the team playoff, in my opinion, is also the first year where we have these super conferences where everyone kind of moved around, and then you had the Oregon and Oregon, USC, UCLA all joined the Big Ten. You had all these random teams join the ACC, and so it's like, does that same SMU team who's playing in the American Conference get into the playoffs? No, they don't, because that's the conference they came from. And that would have left room for a different, like Miami would have been in, because they would have been second in the ACC if SMU wasn't there. You know what I mean? So it's like
Yeah.
these conferences have kind of, like, it's so top heavy now, where a team like Texas, who I think I'm just ragging on Texas now, but they had a very easy SEC schedule. They've kind of had they're going to have an easy walk into the playoffs. Like, who have they played all year long? And so I
Georgia
don't know.
twice.
Right. Georgia twice, and they lost. So I don't know how they would do it differently going forward. I think strength of schedule has to play a part in it. I think scheduling has to be better. A team like Indiana, their only real game was against Ohio State. They lost it. But you also can't penalize a team for playing their schedule and winning the games they're supposed to win.
It's true.
So
I mean,
I don't know.
I think the easy change I think that will happen next year is they're taking out the automatic bye will be gone.
Yeah.
Top
For
4
the conference
teams
winner.
will be the top 4 teams.
Yeah.
And it's going to do away with some of this mess, like with some of this first round nonsense that we had.
Because Ohio State would have been a top 4 seed, you would think.
Maybe, but at the very least, a team like Tennessee would be hosting.
Right.
And maybe SMU still makes it, but they're probably going to lose on the road in the first round. I think the biggest thing is it's going to take away these second round matchups that we have, like this Boise State, Arizona State, that are just going to get dog walked likely.
Right.
If I think that it'll be kind of more like college basketball, where the AC or these conferences can get an automatic bid to the playoffs, but not a bye.
Yeah.
So like the ACC winner, the Big 12 winner, they get a bye, they get a bid, but they're going to be in a 10, 11, 12 seed. They're going to have to do something miraculous on the road to go to the second round, versus right now where they get a bye. And then, I mean, it's just putting off their fate a little bit, but it's making for some pretty lopsided round 2 matchups, where you would like those matchups to be closer to what you see for Ohio State, Oregon, and the Notre Dame, Georgia, where it's going to be more competitive.
Yeah.
So
I agree. I think let's do that change and then kind of go from there. This is going to be a learning experience as we go, but I do think that's a big one. Because
there's
that
going to
really
be talks about 14 teams. There's going to be talks about 16 teams. I mean, I think that's where it's going to land eventually, is 16.
I think we get to 16.
No buys. I think that's the reality.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
You're just adding 4 extra games.
Yeah, it's a couple. I think that's a couple years down the road. But I think this will probably push that narrative harder. It's like, well, this first round wasn't very competitive. Let's expand it. And add more teams. Let's get Miami. Let's get Alabama. Like, let's add these two. Like, if they were both in it, and Ole Miss and South Carolina, those are just the 4 teams at the top of my head where I think those would have been the next 4 in.
Yeah,
they could have added a better matchup, maybe a more competitive game.
Could be. I mean, it's hard for me to talk about it right now. It's easier to talk about it before your team gets just absolutely wrecked, like on the road, and then all your arguments feel a little bit less. They feel worse. Talking about who should have got in and blow SEC, blah blah blah, after you just got blown out by a Big Ten team. But
yeah,
I mean, the reality is Ohio State's a very good team who had no business losing to Michigan.
No,
they
shouldn't
did.
have ever lost to Michigan.
It set up a pretty bad matchup for Tennessee in the first round there. Yeah, I think there's changes for sure. I think the semifinals are going to be competitive, and I think it's going to be fun. I think this was a weird year where there just weren't a lot of dominant teams. It's been said, and I think it's true. I think Ohio State, Oregon, Georgia, maybe Texas, maybe Notre Dame, possibly. are good, and then there's a lot of teams that are just kind of okay on the given day. They can beat anybody, but also could lose to anybody. Tennessee's in that boat, I think. That's what it is.
All right. Yeah.
That's
Well,
Dallas.
that's Dallas, baby. So yeah, I think that is. I don't know. I think that's everything for the first round. I know I'm gonna be diving in, looking at these matchups for the second round, try and find some bets, um, and all that for the next episode. But I think for college football, unless we want to dive into the transfer portal and the recruiting trail, Zach, I don't know. You want to?
I do not.
I couldn't anyway. Even if you wanted to, I would just be sitting here. I can't. I don't have the brain capacity to do transfer portal. I just wait for the spring practices to start, and then I kind of figure out who's where. And even then, it doesn't matter.
It's a mess. Yeah, it's truly a disaster out there on the
Tell
street.
you this though. Don't shun me from being a Vols fan, everyone. But as soon as the Heisman voting, or as soon as the Heisman odds get released for next season, I'm taking DJ Lagway. All right. So anyway,
It's not bad.
yeah, he's a freak. He's a menace to society. All right, NFL. Mason, do you where lead us to where we want to go here? Because I think there's so much going on in the NFL,
Yes.
but there's also, it kind of feels like things are locked up. We've got a bunch of teams already locked in playoff spots wise, but there's still some intrigue. So where are we at right now? Because the end of the
so
season's getting crazy.
it's getting crazy, as it usually is. But we were talking before the podcast started about the playoff pictures a little bit. And so for anybody, because we had a lot of games, a lot of wins, and it's shaken up things just a little bit. So should I talk about the playoff picture and then we talk about what stands out to you, Tens?
Love it.
Okay, so right now, the teams that we have is the Chiefs, the Bills, the Steelers, Texans, Ravens. And in the hunt is the Chargers and Broncos. On the bubble, Colts, Dolphins, Bengals. So let's see, who do we lock up real quick? I
the
believe
Ravens have clinched a playoff spot.
Yep.
With their win on Saturday. The Bills have won their division. They're competing for the 1 seed. The Steelers have not locked up a spot, right? Or have they? Have they clinched a spot in the playoffs?
On here, it looks like they have.
Okay.
Yep. And so
I know the Chargers are like 90-something%.
Yeah. 95, and then Broncos are 78.
I went to bed on Thursday night, that Thursday night game.
Yeah.
Broncos were winning like 21-3 at halftime.
Crazy.
I was like, whatever, I'm tired. Tatum's going to get up here in a couple hours, so I'm going to go ahead and go to sleep so I can take the next feeding and let Morgan sleep, right? I wake up to check the score. It's daggum 36-28. The Chargers win. I was like, I took the Broncos.
Yeah.
Like, oh wow, this is ridiculous. So the Chargers 1 year turnaround under Jim Harbaugh is amazing. Because this is a team that was chock full of talent. Justin Herbert is a very talented quarterback. And it just took a coach coming in and just being a normal human instead of Brandon Staley being this weird analytic, go for it on 4th and 4 in my own territory weirdo. And now look at him.
They're
like in the locker room singing "He's a Jolly Good Fellow" and just Harbaugh, man. He's a football guy.
So that win jumped them up big time. I don't know what it was beforehand, but now they're looking like they're in control of their own destiny going into it. So
okay,
we could talk about any other hot takes or predictions, but let's do the NFC next, and then we can do it overall, like to sum up the whole playoff picture. But who's clinched a playoff spot so far? The Lions, the Eagles, the Vikings. This one gets a little messier. Now we have the Rams have just been on tear, man. It's been crazy. But Rams, if it was to end today, we have the Rams, Bucks, Packers, and Commanders. And they had their last second. Jaden Daniels threw that Did you see that to win the game against the Eagles?
Crazy game today. Eagles and Washington. Jalen Hurts gets hurt early in the game, so you had a Kenny Pickett game, but they still
Stuck it
Eagles
out for
were
a little
winning
bit.
with like less than a minute left. So, yeah, that Commanders team. Another guy who turned around the team quick, Dan Quinn, another true football guy, came in and Nudie was talking about, hired a really good offensive staff, got Cliff Kingsbury in there as offensive coordinator, and he's built a really good offense for Jaden. So, Cliff and Dan Quinn have really turned around the Commanders there.
I feel like you throw out these coaches' names like you're wishing for them to wear teal next year. Possibly. I don't know.
Mason brings up the Jaguars more than I do.
He truly
you
does.
just
He's obsessed.
Mason baits me into doing
he
that.
makes
That being
comments
said,
like
Tins brings
it'd
up
be
the
nice
Titans
to
more
have
than anybody as well.
Thank you, Zach. Thank you.
Since you brought up the Titans draft already today, you
On
bring up
this
the
episode?
Titans more than anybody. Mason brings up the Jags more than anybody.
I think it's just because
Titans
I'm
on this
poking the
episode
bear.
yet.
That's all it is.
Yes,
was
you said
before this
something
started.
about.
Oh, I did say
you
Quinn
talked
Ewers
about
getting
Quinn Ewers getting drafted by the
There
Titans.
you go. Thank you,
in the
Zach.
second round. You're right. That is a Titan thing to do.
He
Though, is
said
it
Tin
not?
sends lots of Titan related texts to the group as well. Like
I'm in a group
what do you-
text full of Titans fans. I'm just trying to talk to you
hate
guys.
stats.
So what I was doing was kind of poking at the bear, like what he does with me. He brings up the Titans, not because he's a Titans fan, but just to like throw a little shade. And I was just doing it. Like he's hoping for all these coaches. Like he made comments just like, it's nice when you can get somebody behind like that can coach an actual team. Like he's throwing shots at Dougie P with actually throwing shots,
I'm
but
just complimenting Jim Harbaugh. He's a
that's
football
all he's
guy.
doing.
I don't know how he's cheating in the NFL like he did in NCAA, but whatever he's doing, it's working.
Stallions on that team with him. Is that all?
No, Connor Stallions is he's the defensive coordinator for the high school that has that quarterback that flipped from LSU to Michigan. Coincidence? I think not. Did you guys know
That's
that?
crazy. No, I did not.
Is
I
that
did see
real?
that there's a
That's
Netflix.
real.
I did see there's a Netflix special. Words are hard. Netflix special about Connor Stallions. So I might have to check that out.
I watched it. It's lame.
Oh, it's bad. Bummer.
Yeah.
They just money grab.
They
Is
don't
that all
say
it was?
anything. They don't
Cool.
admit to anything. They just try and
Yeah.
show that he's innocent.
So on the outside looking in, Seahawks lost today against the Vikings, puts them on
That
the
would hurt 'em.
outside. Yeah, and then the Falcons still, grasping at a little bit of, and they play the Giants next week. Michael Penix didn't do anything insane, but that defense stepped up and they got the win today. So I'm sorry, they played the Giants today, not next week.
Yeah.
I was just looking at they play the
Falcons are very
Commanders
invested.
next week.
Yeah, the Falcons are very invested in this Tampa Bay game going on right now because if Tampa ends up losing, that really opens the door for the Falcons, especially because I think the Bucs' last two games are against the Saints and Panthers, so divisional games. So that AFC South is going to come down to it.
Yeah, that looks like the one that's if their current what they're predicting, they're at a 60%. If they lose, they're at a 51. If they win, they're at an 88. So Falcons are huge. They're huge Buccaneer
Cowboy fans tonight.
or Cowboy fans, yeah. So all right. Anything that stands out with the playoff picture there? I think the one for me, and then I'll let you go, is just the Rams, man. Literally like 2 or 3 weeks ago, they were on the outside. They made this run. And I would, if they continue this, I would not want to play them in the first round of the playoffs. So that's my little, just something that sticks out to me. NFC is a little more chaotic than the AFC, but yes, go ahead.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think the Rams are a team right now. If you're a person who likes to take some long shots going into playoffs, Rams are definitely a team to jump on. They've got a young defense that's kind of figured it out. Jared Verse, defensive rookie of the year, future Friday check. That was plus 1,000. I think me and Mason both gave that one out. We were going to give out awards for the season predictions, and we didn't know we both liked Verse. So we know ball, just in case you guys were wondering. Rams to win their division plus 750 check. And then you don't want to play a team like that. Sean McVay, amazing coach. Matthew Stafford, veteran quarterback with some awesome weapons in Puka Nacua and Cooper Cup, Kyron Williams. Like they're definitely a scary team, especially in the NFC. That's the Eagles have questions with their passing game. Like Jalen Hurts has kind of been up and down all season. The Lions are banged up. I know they dominated the Bears today, but the Lions are still pretty banged up on defense. And I don't know, the Vikings, like the Vikings are one of the better teams in the NFC, and that team is still being quarterbacked by Sam Darnold, who could turn into a pumpkin at any minute. So I like the Rams coming out of the NFC. I do have a question about the AFC. I don't know if you've got the numbers up in front of you, but what has to happen for the Bengals to get into the playoffs? Because if the Bengals get into the playoffs, strictly from their offense, yeah, I mean Joe Burrow can put up 40 points on you. Like if Joe Burrow's team didn't absolutely stink, he'd be an MVP candidate this year. He's going to pass for almost like a little over 5,000 yards. He's going to have like 40 something touchdowns.
So it looks
and if
like
you're
right
the Bengals,
now,
just like look back at you lose your first game against the Patriots, you don't lose that game, and you're probably right in the mix of the wild card right now. You lost a weird game against the Chargers on a Thursday night. Like the Bengals just have to be like, what? Two games is the difference to where they could kind of control their own destiny. And then I know right now they have to have some help to get in.
Yeah. So according to NFL.com, they have an 8% chance. The last two teams that we kind of talked about are the Chargers and the Broncos.
Yeah.
So it looks like I'm pulling up right now who they play next.
I've got some scenarios here.
Okay.
Beautiful.
Shoot it.
Baltimore clinched a playoff spot. The Broncos and Chargers did not clinch a spot this week. The Bengals need to win out in order to make the postseason, along with either the Broncos losing out. Okay, sorry. This article is poorly written. It looks like they need the Broncos to lose out and Cincinnati plays Denver in week 17. So they have to. So that helps a little bit.
So they play them next week, and then the Broncos also play the Chiefs, which they may be looking at backup Central on the Chiefs roster with them being 14-1 right now.
Yeah, they really needed the Chiefs to lose that game against the Texans on Saturday because that would have made the Chiefs have to keep trying to win to get that one seed.
Shoo. And the Chargers played the Patriots and the Raiders. They're both battling. They're both 3-12 right now. Yikes.
Yeah,
so the Chargers have a great...
Patriots aren't tanking. They're feisty. They almost beat the Bills today.
Okay, so let me see. Oh, okay. Here's the real scenario. Sorry, the first article I read was trash. Bengals have to win out. Broncos have to lose out. So it means they have to lose to the Chiefs. Dolphins have to lose at least one game. That would be either at the Browns or at the Jets. The Dolphins can't reach 9 wins. Colts have to lose at least one more game. They play at the Giants and they play versus the Jaguars. And that's it.
Yeah, that makes sense because the Colts and the Dolphins are ahead of them on this.
Broncos lose to the Chiefs, and then the Bengals win out.
Well, I want the Bengals to get in.
It's a lot that has to happen.
So the Jags
just for the pure chaos.
Week 18.
I had a Joe Burrow.
We sure do like ruining the Colts seasons.
True.
It's happened
Dolphins
before.
need to drop to the Browns or the Jets.
Well, it's not going to happen against the Browns with DTR at quarterback because that guy sucks.
Put James back in.
Put him back in.
Honestly,
give him
put James back in.
What are these people doing? They're just trying to keep my guy down.
What are they trying to figure out with DTR? Like, are they trying to figure out if he's the quarterback of the future? Because I could have told you before the game, he's definitely not.
Do you think Jameis will come work for the pod?
Let's get him on.
I think if we pull all of our salaries together, we could get him for about 30 minutes. He's
think
going to
it's
get
the-
a lot of money to be on TV.
You think? Are people gonna
Uh-huh.
like what
He's
network will
perfect.
be on? He's not like an ESPN guy.
I don't know. Put him in.
It's a little bit unhinged.
So's Gronk. And Gronk's all over Fox pregame
True.
stuff.
I will just say if we were able to get him on, it would be worth every penny.
He's going to get hired
All
at
I'm saying.
Barstool is what's going to happen.
You
We
think?
got Gruden already.
Oh, John Gruden. I love John Gruden. He's a funny guy.
He kind of fits that.
He could
podcast.
coach still, let me tell
Would
you.
you take him as coach of the Jags?
In a heartbeat.
Wow. Really?
He'd be on my top 10 list right now.
We need that list before the season's over.
Let's do off the cuff power rank. Can we do it?
Okay.
Who are the top 5 like worst coaches in the NFL?
Active or ever?
Like coaches you at least like to be coaching your football team. Current coaches.
Just
Current.
like vibe of the coach.
Yeah, overall.
Scheme. Just like
Like if your team
does
announced
not
this guy was
inspire.
gonna be your head coach, you would be like, I can't.
Yeah.
Is Doug Peterson on the list?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was
He's
going to
such
say
a
Brian Callahan.
Blech.
Yeah, Callahan, it just seems he's the most like blech person.
Yeah.
Todd Bowles for the Bucks. Like I know they're good, but it's just like every time they pan to him on the sideline, he has no emotion on his face. I've never seen him open his mouth. Like he's never talking. He just has this stonewall face going on.
I kind
His
of see
vibes are
that
low
with
to me.
the Raiders head coach.
Antonio Pierce.
Yeah, he kind
Yeah,
of has
he's a
that
one and done
vibe.
for sure. What's his name for the Texans? I wouldn't want him as my coach. He
It's not
coaches up
reliable.
dirty
Tim's
hits.
Texans so much. I don't.
Well,
Let's take
he's over
shots
here
at
saying we don't coach dirty hits, yet they put a guy in the hospital last week
True.
and they
D'Amico Ryans.
D'Amico Ryans. We don't coach our players that way.
Somebody does.
It's interesting because you guys did it again the next week. Put a guy in the hospital.
That Tank Dell injury, man, that was tough.
Tough. Mike McCarthy. Definitely wouldn't want him coaching my team because he's just fat and dumb.
Got him.
He's a constant meme on Twitter, and you're just gonna get made fun of constantly.
That wasn't on my bingo card at all today. Oh man.
The Dolphins head coach because he's just a nerd.
Wow,
I
Tim's
found that
list is
stat.
long.
He's the only one that never played a snap of football in high school, college, NFL. Like never. He like when it came to coaches, he was the only one that never played.
Are you sure?
Yeah, only
He
active
never
coach.
played. Are you thinking of Jesse Minter, the defensive coordinator for the Chargers? Mike McDaniel played high school football.
I'm looking
I think
right
he
now.
might have even played college football. He's a slot receiver guy.
Mason.
I think you're thinking of Jesse Minter, defensive coordinator for the Chargers. His dad was like a legendary Division II coach and hired his son out of high school to coach for him, and that's how he got linked up with the Harbaughs.
I'm gonna have to find this. Hold on. This is great podcasting.
This is great podcasting. Urban Meyer, definitely wouldn't want to have him as your head coach.
He is not an active coach, so you don't. Have to
Oh
worry
yeah,
about him.
you're true. That's true. The Seahawks new head coach. He's the defensive coordinator for the Ravens last year. Mike McDonald. Something about him. He's just kind of like your basic, like create a coach whenever you start a Madden franchise. Something about him. He has no, just nothing. There's no swag. There's no
aura.
No aura. Negative 10,000 aura on Mike McDonald.
Negative.
Mike McDaniel played wide receiver at Yale.
Yeah, I knew he
wide receiver at Yale.
You're thinking of Jesse.
I'm thinking.
You're thinking of
okay.
Jesse Minter,
Okay, that was it. And he's
defensive coordinator for the Seahawks or the Chargers.
Okay.
Because like his dad was like a legendary coach. He went to college. He never played in high school. Went to college for something. His dad hired him, and it was the same time some of the Harbaugh boys' defensive coordinators were on staff there, and they brought him along, and they loved the kid. He's super young. I think he's like our age. He's about to be a head coach.
It's
So he's probably gonna be
crazy.
head coach this offseason.
For the
Get
Jags?
hired. He's pretty far down the list, but he's on it. Jesse Minter I'd be all right if they hired him.
Would he look
Comes
good
from the
in teal?
Harbaugh tree. He kind of gives the Seahawks coach energy to me. He's kind of got a negative aura. Nothing really exciting about him, but he's probably just going to be a good football coach. No nonsense kind of guy.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing flashy. I need some flash. I had this
Some razzle dazzle.
I had Urban Meyer, who didn't even know who Aaron Donald was as a coach for a year, and then I've had Doug Peterson the last couple of years, who's just lame, wears visors, and has really white gray hair.
Some people might say Urban Meyer had too much aura.
Urban had too much off the field swag and charisma to worry about being an NFL head coach.
He had more important things on his mind than
he had too many ventures off the field to worry about. Too many fans to take care of. Shout out Urban Meyer.
What a guy. Love him.
I still remember the day he turned and looked towards the stands when I was yelling at him at the Colts game. Mason was there.
Yep. I remember that.
Whole stadium went quiet, and I let Urban Meyer know what I was thinking.
What'd you say?
I told him to give James Robinson the ball. He just he had this crush on Carlos Hyde, who played for him at Ohio State. But even though he was washed and about 40 pounds overweight, still trying to play running back in the NFL, looked like me trying to run through the mud and quicksand all at the same time. This guy didn't belong on an NFL roster. James Robinson, who had just broke many Jaguar rushing records the year before, sitting on the sidelines. So for some reason, it was really quiet, and I just took my chance. And I screamed, "Hey, Urban!" And you could see the whole Jags sideline look up. And Mason was like, "Holy."
We had close seat. That's like one of the closest seats I've ever had.
Yeah.
To a
people
game.
cheer for you?
No, we just had that drunk guy showing us all his bet slips.
They weren't behind you? They didn't agree?
No, it was at the Colts game.
Oh, right.
Yeah, this was a away game.
Enemy territory.
Yep.
No,
they didn't like anything that we said.
Yeah, and then I kept asking them if they were worried they were going to lose to a team coached by Urban Meyer, and if they really liked Carson Wentz as their quarterback. And I got a lot of dirty looks. Everybody's mad. Oh, Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz going to get another Super Bowl ring because the Chiefs are winning the Super Bowl this year. That's just how it goes.
I'd
like to call out.
They're winning too many times, and they're winning too much in the regular season.
I have a personal.
Sorry, you go.
I was going to say I have a personal call out to Patrick Mahomes. We know you're great. You don't have to keep doing the fake injury thing. You're not facing any adversity. You're not overcoming anything with your fake high ankle sprain every year at the end of the season that you keep doing. You're not hurt. Quit acting like it.
Wow.
That's all.
You got
Dude was running around like nothing was wrong, and then he'll randomly just start limping during the game. He's like a dog that my dog Cooper does this randomly. He hurt his leg a couple years ago, had to wear a cast and take medicine and all this stuff. Every once in a while, like if he gets scared about something outside or if I have to turn on the birdhouse because they're barking and freaking out, he'll start limping. Like, oh, look, I'm injured. Feel bad for me. Like, that's what Patrick Mahomes does. He wants everyone to feel bad for him because he's not in the MVP race this year.
Got him.
I'm sick of it.
I saw one of those videos that's like a compilation where it shows if like one play goes a different way, what could happen. And
I think,
did you see that? It was wild.
They'd be 7-7 right now or something like that.
Yeah, if like one play went differently in each of the games that they were like one possession.
That's football, man.
All the margin was between them being like a playoff outside looking in versus whatever they are, 15-1 or whatever.
Jags have lost 10 games this year by less than 7 points.
Wow.
Like that's football. It's just NFL is the game of That's margins. They're very thin.
True.
That's why it's fun to say NFL teams suck because none of them really do. Any team can beat any team. It's just who makes less mistakes and who's more prepared.
Who's a better quarterback? That feels like a huge piece of the puzzle.
It's very, yeah.
Agree.
Especially when you have Mac Jones, McCorkle Jones out there.
Certainly doesn't help. Thanks.
Mason Rudolph was lighting it up. You guys, come on, Mason Rudolph. I think he's the future. He's the perfect bridge guy.
Listen, if I can say one thing with the Titans, they know how to tank, baby.
Some
That's
teams
right.
don't.
Right now, you guys are picking fourth. Very, very big game between our two teams next weekend.
Yeah, I'm going to need the Titans to figure the tank out. Put Will Levis back
Double
in.
tank.
Ready for Cam Ward? Would you be excited about Cam Ward?
Yeah. I think Cam Ward has a better chance of being like Jaden Daniels than
I agree
some
with
other
that.
one. I think
so.
he's
Cam Ward
closer to Jaden Daniels than I don't. Shedeur is a complete unknown to me because I've not seen him play good competition at one time.
Yeah.
Shedeur Sanders is
I have
Tua.
no idea what he's going to do.
It's my comp. He's a Tua. He's Tua level quarterback, which is good. That can
Tua's
win
good.
you games.
Sure.
I think Sanders will be good if he goes to the right system. I like Cam Ward. I think he just has to do a little bit less of that run around in the backfield stuff.
Caleb Williams still trying to learn that lesson as well.
Yeah, you can't do it. Even Michael Penix today was doing it. These guys do that in college, and then they find out, these defensive linemen in the NFL are freak athletes.
It is an interesting thing to. I know this is going to come back around to this, but it feels like a lot of the players who are very good players but played in some of these softer conferences in college tend to do that, like Caleb Williams, Michael Penix, and you just mentioned the other one. Who was it? Maybe Shedeur will be in that same category.
Yeah.
Jane Daniels made the transition to NFL a little easier because he kind of faced more of the pro style defenses
in the SEC. Yeah.
I think there's something to that probably. I don't know if that's across the board, but I think there's at least something to be said.
I agree. I think that's why you see, for the most part, a lot of the NFL quarterbacks are from the SEC. ACC has a lot too, and then the Big 12 had a lot, but that's a lot of more of your
Patrick Mahomes, obviously.
Patrick Mahomes and Baker Mayfield, guys who put up crazy numbers, and just special talents no matter what. But I think you see the guys that come in and are a little bit more NFL ready are normally from the SEC because of what you said. I think you just have so much SEC talent that plays in the NFL on defense, and coaching too. A lot of it leans more towards what the NFL style is. And now the ACC is going to have that with Bill Belichick over there at UNC.
True. That's real NFL.
I hope he does. I hope that's what he does. He leans into, I don't care about winning games. You want to get drafted, come here and I'll get it done for you. Can make that program elite very quick.
I've heard some things. There is a quarterback that went to Oklahoma out of the transfer portal. Apparently, North Carolina offered him a bag. I forget his name now. He came from like Washington State or somewhere, but he was one of the top portal quarterbacks. Went to Oklahoma, who they need a quarterback.
I know who you're talking about.
And
he's like a really run first kind of guy too.
UNC offered him a ton of money. They threw everything at him. So they're gonna pick up a big portal quarterback, I think. We'll see.
It'll be fun. I'm very excited for the Bill Belichick experience.
I'm excited to see if he makes it to game 1 of next year
because of his buyout.
Yeah, I'm just.
I think he'll get 1 year.
I'll believe
he'll do 1 year.
I'll believe it when I see him on the sideline of a North Carolina game.
They're diving all in.
This is just like a big hoax, and just
they're selling merch.
I don't know.
They've got the hoodies, the cutoff hoodies already.
I can't buy it. All right, folks. Is that a pod?
I think that's a pod.
That's a pod.
Love it. We will be back with you later this week Well, actually, we haven't talked about this Christmas schedule.
yeah.
Well, we'll be back at some point.
Crash mash.
Christmas is rapidly approaching us. Coming up soon. We hope you all have a great Christmas Day and Christmas Eve, and we will see you next time.